Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's go over the headlines, let's go over the track, let's go over what's impacting Irma as it moves to the northwest and how Irma will impact us. So first and foremost, the headlines. Hurricane force winds could start as early as Sunday afternoon. Not the major hurricane force winds, but hurricane force winds nonetheless extending a bit further out from the center of the storm. This would be more so in Charlotte County, southern DeSoto, southern Sarasota County, just because the storm's to the south, so obviously you folks are going to feel the effects more than, say, Manatee earlier in the day. All of us are going to feel impacts late today and going into, I would say, 10, 11 o'clock tonight into 12 a.m. Monday, 1, 2 a.m. Monday. That's the time frame so far for the strongest winds in the area, whatever those winds may be. Storm surge, 6 to 9 feet possible, and that's why all emergency management in every county has issued or did issue mandatory evacuation for Zone A, which covers mostly coastal zones in addition to mobile homes. Mobile homes are not going to be doing very well during this hurricane. I mean, it just is the nature of the hurricane. But as far as storm surge, coastal areas could see some high storm surge, which could cause structural damage and even collapse for those buildings. That's why we want people out of the buildings. We don't want them there, right? That can be rebuilt. As long as you're in a shelter, you're in a much safer position. So we're going to show you two tracks. We've been showing this a lot lately. If you're just tuning in, we want to show you this track, which shows how this is going to interact with wind shear and how that'll impact the storm. And then we want to show you the wind radii of the storm and the exact timing. So this is where the storm is now, about to make landfall in Key West. And this bar over here, those colors represent the strength of the wind shear, the strong upper level winds. Why is that important? Because when it comes to hurricanes, and tropical storms for that matter, you may have heard many times us talking about a hurricane going, there's a hurricane over here, but boy, wind shear is just going to destroy that thing, and it's not going to turn into anything. Well, apply that to this hurricane as well. It is a powerful Cat 4. As it moves to the north, take a look at what happens. This is by Lee County. All right, so here's Charlotte, here's Sarasota, here's Lee County. Look at how the colors increase. That's high wind shear. If it goes over this high wind shear, which it's expected to, and this is the Euro model, this is the model we've been saying for days has been one of the most reliable models, one of the best ones. Euro model is showing the high wind shear. So if we're looking at the satellite, if we're looking at the radar later, and we start to see less organization in the storm because winds are being blown to the east due to the wind shear, we are going to see weakening in the winds. Now, that doesn't mean this isn't a powerful storm. We are still expecting major hurricane impacts. Cat 4 can still be expected in Charlotte. As it moves to the north, notice how it's just off the coast. So actually the current track takes the landfall in Cudjoe Key. But look at the red here. Enormous amounts of wind shear right on the sun coast. So this is going to bring strong major hurricane force winds to the coast at least, as long as it continues this path. Obviously, if it goes eastward, not only will it encounter land, but it'll encounter wind shear as well. We could see some more rapid weakening. However, of course, that would leave our friends in Arcadia and Nocatee, those of you joining us there in the middle of the path. Right now, middle of the path is up the coast through the Sarasota area and into Bradenton as well, Gulf Gate Estates, Siesta Key. But it's encountering a lot of wind shear. And so, once it moves north, the expectation is this is going to be a Cat 3 and a weak Cat 3. Still a major hurricane capable of a lot of damage. But if it's going from 130 to 115, which is the expectation, I don't want 115, but I'll take 115 over 130 any day of the week. So that's the current track. The current track actually took the numbers from yesterday and lowered them. The expectation yesterday was Cat 4 landfall guaranteed. Now, it's a little more up in the air. I don't want to eliminate the possibility completely, but it does look more likely now than yesterday that this will be a Cat 3. I was more concerned with the possibility of rapid intensification over the warm waters. But then the wind shear just really increased, and that could help keep it at bay despite the warm waters. Now let's look at the track when we talk about how far the winds expand. And this is why we were saying get your stuff done yesterday. The yellow shows you tropical storm force winds. So here's the center of the storm. Way up there, we see tropical storm force winds in the wind radii. As this moves north, still looking at a Cat 4 even this afternoon, getting closer to Lee County, to Naples, to Fort Myers. Still looking at hurricane force winds moving northeast. Now here we go. This will be later in the day, around 8 o'clock. Hurricane force winds will very much affect most of the area. About west of either Fort Myers, Charlotte County, still off the coast. With this path, it doesn't look like landfall will be made in Lee County, but all it takes is a slight wobble to the east. However, it'll encounter land and wind shear. If it does that, that could produce more weakening than expected. Once we get to tomorrow early morning, we're still looking at hurricane force winds for at least the northern chunk of our viewing area. Manatee, Sarasota County, very likely. However, down south, still a big possibility for hurricane force winds, but you may start to get back into the tropical storm force winds at this time. And again, it depends how far west or east it moves in this cone. But that does mean that perhaps by 1 o'clock, we'll get done with the worst of this. And I really hope, especially those of you in shelters who just want to go to sleep tonight and try to ride this out, and just wake up when it's not as bad. Hey, it's coming at a good time. It's coming when you normally be sleeping. So good timing there. I understand some of you may not be able to go to sleep. You're nervous. Totally reasonable reaction. I guarantee you most of the people watching with you right now are feeling the same way. It's totally understandable. But there has been some positive developments. It's still a strong, powerful hurricane, however, and we do see the chance really increase for hurricane force winds, especially in Charlotte County as early as 6, 7 o'clock. But even into Sarasota County, we could see hurricane force winds. And then by the time we get to late Sunday into early Monday, then definitely getting hurricane force winds at that point. There's really no escaping it. So here's our RPM model, one of the models we use, this one for our future track. This actually is heading a bit east. This would have landfall in Lee County and move north through around DeSoto or eastern Sarasota County. It would definitely weaken the landfall or weaken the storm a lot more, but it would put Northport, Arcadia, Punta Gorda in more of the direct path. We'll see where it wobbles, but I'm glad to see that there are some positive developments.